Lawrence's long leg stretching out, a corner. Owen Grobbelaar taking it off Sharp's head and then throwing it towards Kenny Dalglish, but it's too long. There's MacDonald. He's accustomed himself well to the occasion so far. This is Jim Beglin. MacDonald again. A bit short that one though to Ronnie Whelan. Beglin. Again MacDonald. Nice turn, rushes in the centre, Vanden Hauwe. The shape of the Everton defence, so solid. And they're looking on the counter to try to get Lineker through, as everybody knew they would, to use his pace against the Liverpool back four, especially as Liverpool have elected to play without the sweeper. Ball was out. Gary Stevens possesses a very long throw for Everton. Grobbelaar comes to meet Sharp and doesn't quite get there. There's Reid. Bracewell. Stevens still forward. Grobbelaar comes again. More successfully this time.
You never know with Bruce, you never know. One thing, he's an entertainer, and they say the game's crying out for them these days, so he earns his money on that count anyway.
After his eccentric spell mid-season, he's certainly finished in good form for Liverpool in the finale to the Championship. This is Graham Sharp. Lovely play. Gary Stevens. Mark Lawrenson. It's mostly going through the centre and through midfield. Here's Rush. Dalglish on the left, offside.
Very tight one, that. It was a well-timed run, but the linesman made his decision with his new flag. Obviously goes up in the air as frequently as the old ones, John.
There's going to be one or two close ones, I think, with players trying to just time their run at the right moment. Vanden Hauwe. Reid. Bracewell. Beglin. The wide players finding it hard to get into the game at the moment. Trevor Stevens hardly had a kick on that right wing for Everton. Hansen. And Johnston on this side would appreciate some service, but couldn't do much with that. This is Ratcliffe. Chipped forward for Lineker. Now Molby. Molby to Dalglish. Now Reid. Lineker off through the centre again. This is promising. Lineker for Everton. Saved by Grobbelaar. Lineker. 1-0 to Everton. And who else but Gary Lineker? His 40th goal of the season for Everton. The footballer of the year. Peter Reid's through ball, absolutely measured. It puts Lineker clear of Hansen. Grobbelaar made the first save, and Lineker followed up and put Everton into the lead after 28 minutes of the All-Merseyside FA Cup final. Johnston for Liverpool. Well, Liverpool will hate the size of Lineker. He's scored against them in both the league matches this season, and now he does it in the FA Cup final. Following up, Grobbelaar almost saved the second one, but not quite. Well, Bob Paisley said to me on Thursday night at the Liverpool Hotel, talking about key areas, he said Peter Reid has got so much cunning and know-how. He's the kind of man you fear for providing that sort of pass. And he also said that the man to latch on to that kind of ball is obviously the Footballer of the Year, Gary Lineker. He read it right, but Liverpool are one down. Johnston. And here's Dalglish. Tackled by Ratcliffe and away by Steve. So we're not going to have a goalless draw as we had in the Milk Cup final here between the two teams. Beglin. Mulby. Nicol. Whelan. Nicol, and taken out wisely by Mountfield. Half an hour gone. Dalglish. And Lawrence coming in here. And McDonald. What about the goal, Jimmy?
Well, it was a beautiful move, and you've described it equally well. There's no doubt about he had the pace to leave Hansen struggling, and the ball held up there for a minute. Grobbelaar will be disappointed that he didn't hold on to that first shot. Similar to that one he gave away at Spurs, I think, earlier on when we were on live. Sometimes as a keeper, they'll tell you'll get your hand to the ball and it'll roll safely, and another time like that, it'll go to just the spot to enable the forward to complete the chance. That should the way your luck runs, but there was no luck about the through ball, nor the way in which Lineker got onto the end of it.
Here's Mulby for Liverpool. Rush, try to flick it back to Dalglish. Sheedy. That was Ratcliffe. Then it was sharp, lovely play by him. Return not so good from Trevor Stephen. And Lineker's now bustling Lawrenson. The whistle's already gone for an Everton free kick. Lawrenson not happy about that. Trevor Stephen. Lineker up with Hansen. Lawrenson coming to help. Beglin. Stephen. Bracewell. Reid. That's the understanding in the Everton engine room. Gary Stevens in. Lineker. He could have turned, then there was another chance on. Mulby. Dalglish. Now all the craft of Kenny Dalglish is required now for Liverpool to cancel out what Peter Reid created there for Everton. Perhaps the two cleverest players in terms of knowledge of the game on the pitch. But Everton, for the moment, hold sway here. They have the lead, they have the free kick, and they have their supporters singing. Stevens to Stephen. Sharp. Mountfield is up there. Sharp again. Came back off Molby for a throw. How well Sharp's led the line this season for Everton. Now with the throw. Dalglish, nice header out by McDonald, but an equally good challenge there by Sheedy. Lineker will be pleased he kept that old pair of boots that he's had repaired so many times. Tried a new pair the other week and brought him bad luck. McDonald. Only the second goal that Liverpool had conceded in 11 first-class matches. But what a priceless goal it might be. As Howard Kendall is well aware, cup finals normally tight, tense matches, and that was always predicted between these two rivals who know each other so well.
Not a bad goal either, with the World Cup in mind. If you can catch out your neighbours with a ball like that when they know you'll play, might work quite well against the foreigners.
Yes, the two players involved, both in the England party, Peter Reid and Gary Lineker. Here's Sharp of Scotland. Bracewell. Hansen. Molby, nicely done. McDonald. They're trying to stay onside here, Liverpool. Whelan is wide. Here's Dalglish. Little back heel. Gary Stevens. Sensible. This is Whelan for Liverpool. Now it's McDonald. And Rush. Blocked by Ratcliffe. One Welshman denying the other. Lineker. Reid. Now Sheedy just offside.
Here's the move coming up now. No way in which you can actually get a look. Oh, this is the shot, well blocked by Ratcliffe rather, showing what a splendid defender he really is. He read it all the way, got his leg in the way when the final shot came, no danger.
Dalglish to McDonald, and there goes Johnston, and Bobby Mims did well. Well, Neville Southall would have been happy to make a save like that, because Mims came quickly and decisively to foil Johnston. Neville's down there on the bench in the second row back. Sharp up, here's Lineker. And Whelan. And now Rush. Dalglish and Ratcliffe again in first. That last incident said an awful lot about the way Ratcliffe marshals the Everton defence. Swooped down there to block the Rush shot, but here's Sharp. Offside. A fine leader too is Kevin Ratcliffe, still only 25. keeping that back four in good order. Hansen. That's a measured ball for Dalglish. Bracewell gets back. Everton working so hard and so effectively, and Lineker letting Sharp take over this time on the through ball, but Lineker's pulled away to the far side. Here's Sheedy. Sharp again. Vanden Hauwe. Bracewell. This is good possession football by Everton, but it is progressive. Gary Stevens. Trevor Steven. They're waiting in the centre, four of them.
Well, a bit of pattern in the game there, John, and domination and confidence coming out of Everton as a result of that one-goal lead. It would be extremely unexpected if Everton went into half-time with, say, a two-goal lead, because remember, you and I both bet on a draw at the end of 90 minutes.
Well, you've given the game away there, Jim. We did get a rather nice quote from Ladbrokes that it was 9-4 against a draw over 90 minutes, and I would have thought that was possibly most people's favourite result.
Well, it still could be. There's only one in it, bear in mind, but Everton do seem to have rattled Liverpool at the moment. They're having a job settling. They're picking up confidence every minute of the game. Suddenly you can see a formation in the team, which I haven't seen in that team for a number of weeks.
Mind you, the oldest saying in football is never write off Liverpool when they're behind. Here's Sheedy. Sharp is in there. Trevor Steven hovering here. Didn't quite read it, though.
Young Trevor Steven there is the enigma, really. He seems to have all the natural talent to be just the player England want on the right side of midfield. He can go past players, he can do a midfielder's job, he's got a nice touch and he scores goals, but that's two chances he's had on the wing there and muffed them both, really.
This is Rush. Beglin. Liverpool never a side to be knocked out of their stride by a setback like that. They'll just keep playing the way they know best. Here's McDonald. Four minutes left in the first half, and it's Everton 1, Liverpool 0, courtesy of Gary Lineker. Nicol. MacDonald. Molby. Foul by Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe is playing with a determination born out of a frustration that Everton have lost the championship. His heart set on lifting the FA Cup to even things up against this Liverpool side. Whelan. That was Bracewell. Now, Kenny Dalglish. Sheedy for Everton. This four-man midfield of theirs totally in touch with each other. That was Trevor Steven, back to Gary Stevens. They have a good understanding also on the right. Colin Harvey, the Everton coach, on this side of Howard Kendall, an influential figure behind the scenes. Doesn't get a lot of publicity, I don't think. Beglin. Rush. Oh, and Ratcliffe this time has to turn the ball out for a corner. Wasn't what he intended. Taken quickly, Johnston. Nicol. Looking for Whelan. Trevor Steven was in first. Jim Beglin was in second. Just a couple of minutes left in the first half here at Wembley. Everton lead by Gary Lineker's goal, makes his overall total in first-class football for the season 43, because he also scored a hat-trick here for England against Turkey. Sheedy. Says Alan Robinson. He likes to let the game flow when he can. That was Nickel away from Sheedy. Rush on to Mulby. Last minute of the first half, Liverpool on the attack. Whelan is out wide. Mulby. Nice little ball for Ian Rush. Onside. Waiting for Beglin. And now Mulby. Half blocked. Dalglish. Offside flag was up against Craig Johnston. Play will have to be pulled back. Your general feeling on the first half, Jimmy?
The nastiness going on at the moment there. I think they'll all settle down and calm themselves. Kenny, I think, was a bit annoyed more with himself that that little touch pass there didn't quite work on the end of that attack, which gave the ball away. But I'm just thinking he'll need that walk to the tunnel at half-time if he's going to get his breath back to give the team talk, which a player's manager responsibilities require. But he's got to go some way. There's a lot in the game yet. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Liverpool are far from dead. Any side would be. But on the other hand, Everton have picked up more confidence, as I've said, than they've had in recent weeks, which is a good sign for them. They look like scoring more goals, and I think possibly Liverpool will score before the end as well. I don't see it staying at 1-0. That's my verdict at half-time anyway, and we shall see what happens there.
Well, everything's gone right for Gary Lineker this season. And Peter Reid, another England World Cup prospect, being led off there with Howard Kendall, produced this pass, which I think, Jimmy, will go down as one of the finest balls played of its kind in a Wembley Cup final in recent years.
It was perfect. In fact, it made it difficult to finish there, you see, and there wasn't a lot of power in that shot, which gave Grobbelaar the chance to get to it, but he did just push it off in a perfect position for the forward to pick up, and Lineker, he doesn't need a second invitation to do that, does he?
So, at half-time in the All-Merseyside FA Cup final, well, whether they're magic or not, they're certainly very happy. The half-time score is Everton 1, Liverpool 0.
Jimmy, and thank you, John. Yes, the double in jeopardy for the moment, and we'll be having the views of our esteemed panel on that first half in just a moment or two. But first, let's catch up with what's been going on north of the border, the Scottish Cup final, Aberdeen against Hearts. Archie McPherson is commentating.
Hewitt comes in. McDougall goes to the left. John Hewitt will try the shot on. He does, and he scored brilliantly. John Hewitt, the super sub, the man who scored in Gothenburg, puts Aberdeen in the lead in, just about 5 minutes. 1-0.
So, perhaps double disappointment for Hearts, who, of course, just missed out on the league title north of the border last week to Celtic. Aberdeen leading there 1-0. Everton leading 1-0 here. Terry Venables, what were your thoughts on that first half?
I thought Liverpool settled down very quickly, but Everton picked up after that, and I felt that they got stronger and stronger as the game went on, and I wasn't surprised they scored. I thought they were unlucky not to have a penalty.
I think we should see the goal again, don't you? What, the penalty incident?
I thought it was a penalty. He had a clear header, and he clearly pushed him away from the ball. And he was right to say it was a great ball for Peter Reid through there, but even at the end, Lineker didn't really look comfortable on the finish on his left foot, but he clinked it quite well.
And we're going to have another look at it, and we can see it from a few different angles, in actual fact. But
he spots it well, and he's on his way now. He's on his way, and he sees it. And Hansen's no slouch, and he's got away from him well. It's his pace that's going to hurt anybody. Here, he's not really sure. He gets a reasonable hit on it. And he's unlucky on the second side. He picks himself up, he doesn't get enough hands. in front of the ball.
It's
He was unlucky in the
the one
second
thing that probably Liverpool feared before the game. You know, was probably the thing they've talked about more than anything all week would have been the through ball at that and Lineker getting onto it. And it's the one thing that's probably haunted them all week.
Well, let's be fair. If you play the way Liverpool playing, it's the same in the European Cup final last year with Pettini putting that ball over the top for Boniek.
Yeah.
If you keep pushing up, you do make it more difficult for the opposition. But that possibility is always on once or twice a game.
Oh, I mean, a boy with that pace.
That pace, the same as Boniek. It's the same
tremendous.
situation.
Tremendous.
Exactly the same
Great
situation.
ball, though, wasn't it? I mean,
Super ball. I think it started though. I think with an error by
Kenny made an error. That's right.
See, once he goes off behind the other three defenders, there's no chance of cover at any stage.
No. You were saying earlier, it's a type of goal you wouldn't see abroad very often.
No, the sweeper would have
Yeah.
he would have hit it out wider than to come back in again.
Yeah.
The sweeper would have
well,
just
the
picked it
sweeper
off.
doesn't pick up anybody
That's
up and
right.
just sits in behind people.
I was a bit worried earlier on, Des. Well, you know,
We were
as
saying-
Terry was saying, Everton started terribly
Started
poor.
awful. First
Terribly
quarter now,
poor.
they
I
never
think the
kicked a
penalty
ball.
in